and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at the puzzle on the screen, which, when I first saw it, caused me to utter, "That's impossible." It's called Phoenix Nights, and it's by Apiyo, and we've had a couple of recommendations for this already. I think it only came out in the last 2 or 3 days. And I've seen also comment from none other than Phistomefel saying that this is an absolutely brilliant puzzle, and you can see it is rather minimalistic. The symmetry, in fact, is only broken by these 3 dots, which is quite interesting. Called Phoenix Nights, I'm guessing not after the Peter Kay sitcom, but because this sort of looks like a phoenix, at least it does to me. I'm notoriously bad at spotting drawings in puzzles. Yes, that does appear to be Maverick, doesn't it? Flying low outside my window, as usual. But yeah, this looks like it looks like the Phoenix. Fawkes, that was the name of the Phoenix in Harry Potter. It looks just like Fawkes to me. Now, thanks so much to those of you who joined us last night on our Bubba Is You stream. The first stream was only 5 minutes long because we had some technical difficulties, which I have left on the channel because some of you have earnestly begged me to. Apparently, listening to it was like Cracking the Cryptic's attempt to create dance music. We had some astonishing echoes going on, and yeah, it was very, very embarrassing, but seems to have caused much hilarity. So that will remain that will remain on the channel. The actual stream then also started with a bit of a flop, in the sense that we still couldn't get the audio or the visuals working quite right for about another 17 minutes or so after that. But we did eventually get to play the game. And it was incredible because the game developer, Puli, was actually in the chat. We could not believe it. And actually, I also want to say thank you. We had some very generous donations, as always, last night. But Mark Smith donated $500, which is absolutely incredible. So, Mark, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for that. We were most appreciative. And what a game. What a game Bubba Is You is. Really, really brilliant. And, well, I suppose if you'd like to play it and you've never played it, there is a chance, because on Patreon today, it's the 1st of October, we have just released, we will have just released by the time this video goes live, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the padlocked lockout lines Sudoku hunt, and you can win a Bubba Is You key if you finish it first. So get your answer in as soon as you've finished it. Even if you're not a speed solver, then there's still a chance to win another Bubba Is You key if you can get us a correct answer by the 20th of October. Then you'll go into the hat for the second key. So do have a look. I can say, because it's true, it's definitely one of the highest quality things we have ever been privileged to release on Patreon. Thank you so much to those authors who contributed to it, and especially to Riff Clown and to Toolcat for inventing lockout lines rules, and then having the imagination to go about creating what is an extraordinary sequence of puzzles. Fantastic stuff. Now, anything else to mention? Yes, I want to wish one of our viewers a very happy 50th birthday yesterday. And in fact, I haven't got this on the right page, but let's go back here. Rodri Marsden, some of you may know Rodri. He's quite a famous journalist and in fact a musician as well, plays in the band Scritti Politti. I know some of you will know that band. But his partner yesterday presented him with this for his 50th birthday, a birthday Sudonkadonk. Normal Sudoku rules apply, or they would if this Sudonkadonk was in any way playable. Numbers in cages are impossible to achieve with the available digits. Feel free to consider the idea of anything operating orthogonally. X-wings are optional. Let's get cracking, and happy 50th birthday. What a wonderful present that is. I absolutely love that, and I think Rodri did as well. So that was one thing we got. We also got some fan art created by Tessa on Twitter. This is incredible. It's just so... I wish I could draw like this. I would really, really like to be able to do this sort of thing. But Tessa created these for us as well, and we're most grateful. Fantastic. So, anyway, all that said and done, let's get on with Phoenix Nights by Apiyo and see what the rules are. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells separated by a knight's move in chess are, this is why it's called Phoenix Nights, cannot contain the same digit. All right, let's stop there and make sure we all understand that. So let's make the central digit in the grid a 1. Now, if this was a chess knight, we could bounce to all of these cells, and therefore none of these cells outlined in blue can contain the digit 1. So just make sure digits separated by knight's moves don't contain the same digit, and you'll be good to go. Now, neighbouring digits on a red line have a difference of at least 5. So these are German whispers lines. So what does that mean? Well, that means if this square was a 3, this square here would have to be at least 5 away from 3. Now, it can't be a negative number, so it would either have to be 8 or 9. So let's make this a high digit. Let's make this a 7. Now, this digit here has to be 5 away from 7. It can't obviously be a double-digit number, so it's either going to have to be a 1 or a 2. So that's how German whispers lines work. Cells separated by a black dot contain digits in a ratio of 1 to 2. So this is a normal Kropki dot. If that was a 2, this could be a 1 or a 4. If it was a 6, that can be a 3, etc. Cells separated by a white dot must contain consecutive digits. So this domino contains consecutive digits. Not all possible dots are given. So that's what we know. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. And now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I say let's get cracking. It's absurdly symmetrical, this puzzle. I mean, it is really remarkable to me that this has a unique solution. I think it's because I underestimate the power of German whispers lines. Because these lines have got some work to do, let me tell you. Oh, okay, where does 5 go in the middle box? That's a question we could ask. So, okay, if you've never done a German whispers puzzle before, you may not be familiar with this, but what we can never do is put a 5 anywhere on a German whispers line. And that's because once we go 5 away from it, this digit here would have to either be a 0 or a negative number, or a 10 or higher, both of which are impossible. So 5 can't go on red lines, and that means in the middle box 5 is in one of 3 positions. Now, what else do we know about German whispers lines? We know that they have a parity thing going on, so they alternate in terms of highs and low digits. They either go high, low, high, low, high, low, or they go low, high, low, high, low, high. So this one here, whatever this digit is, whatever parity that is, if it's high, that's going to be high, that's going to be high, and that's going to be high. Alternatively, if this is low, this will be low, this will be low, this will be low. And the reason is, let's just work out why that's the case. If this is a 3, for example, if this is low digit, so it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, now this is forced to be high. This has to be, in this case, it'll have, in fact, let's make it as low as we can. Now this has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. But once this is 6, 7, 8, or 9, this has to be low again. So these are both low. That's going to be high. That will therefore be low. So these 4, yeah, okay, I see what's going on. These 4 digits here all have to have the same parity on the line. Now, what about the knight's move, though? These squares all see each other. Whatever goes in here obviously can't go there by Sudoku, or there by knight's move Sudoku. So these are either 1, 2, 3, and 4, or they are 6, 7, 8, and 9. And they are a set of those, so they are different digits, and that must mean we have to, you've guessed it, we have to colour them in. Right, let's colour them in. So that's different from that. And those 2 are the other 2 digits, which means that, so that means that these 3 cells here all have the same parity, in the sense that they're either all high or all low. And the other digit that I think is interesting is this one, which is on the black Kropki dot as well. Ah, yes. I've got... No, I haven't quite got it, but I've got something. This black Kropki dot is very interesting because these 2 have the same parity. Yeah, this is very beautiful. Very beautiful indeed. Right, let's just use orange for this parity. I don't know whether these are high or low. Well, I actually do, but let me explain why. These are either all high digits or they're all low digits. Now look at this digit here. By Knight's Move Sudoku, this cell sees this cell and this cell by Knight's Move, and these two are in its box. So whatever this is, it is not of the same parity as these coloured digits here. So it's the same parity as orange, and it's the same parity as this cell. So this black dot contains two digits of the same parity. Well, let's think about the options for a black dot in Sudoku. In fact, let's put them all in. It could be 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 6s and 8s. So, if we are selecting these digits from high parity digits, the only valid digits are 6 and 8. Now 6 and 8 are beautiful digits, but they are not in the ratio of 1 to 2 with each other. So this black dot is not high, it cannot contain high digits. So it must contain, well, it can't contain 3 because it can't have 6 on it. So it must be 1, 2 and 4, and now we know the parity. We know these, the coloured digits, i.e. the digits that are not orange, are 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not going to pencil mark that actually because I think I might be better continuing with colouring. There must be a 2 on the black dot. And we know that because this is either a 1-2 pair or it's a 2-4 pair now. Now that's interesting in terms of these two squares, I think, because these two squares see both of these squares. Whatever this is, it can't be a 2 because it would rule 2 out of the black dot altogether. So these squares have got to be 1, 3 and 4. And oh, this is so clever. This is ridiculously clever. Right. In fact, yes, in fact, I was noticing I could apply it to these two, somewhat stupidly ignoring the fact that I could have applied it to this already. So, what digit is it impossible to put in the middle of a German whispers line if the digits on either side see each other? 4. You can't put 4 here. If you do, those two digits have to both be 5 away from 4, and the only valid digit is 9. And you cannot put 2 9s in the same row of Sudoku. Now that logic applies to that cell, and that cell. So none of these digits can be 4. Now I get a 1-3 pair and this square has to be a 2. Oh, this is just beautiful. Now this can't be a 1 because then this will be consecutive with 1 and it'll have to be 2 again. So that's going to be 4. And this square's got to be 3 because it can't be 5. So this square is also orange. Oh, this is some puzzle, isn't it? It really is. So I've got 2, 4, 3 here. Whichever one of these is a 3 will have to have 8 and 9 in its coloured cells. Because 3, obviously, once you go 5 away from 3, you're going to be looking at 8s and 9s. And the two digits will have to be different. Can't actually see how to do that. I thought it was we were off to such a good start. Oh, I know what we could do. Maybe we just do some Sudoku. Like purple has to be up there now. So purple's in one of those squares. Yellow has to be down here. So yellow is also in one of those 3 squares. This German whispers line, the head of the phoenix, cannot have a blue digit on it. So I'm just wondering if we can work out the parity. Yes, oh, this is lovely as well. Look at this square. This square here, is it possible that this is a high parity digit? Is it a 6, 7, 8 or a 9? The answer is no, because if it is high, it has to be green. But now this has to be high. And what's this digit? Well, it's not yellow, it's not purple, and it's not blue because of Knight's Move, so it also has to be green, and these are both Knight's Move apart, and that doesn't work. So these squares here have to both be orange. We might actually have to... We might be getting into chromatic nonsenses soon, because I may have to disambiguate my oranges. And that's going to really extend the palette into the various shades of grey at my disposal. But we'll try and not be grey. It's a Friday after all. We should all be happy. I'll try and hold off on the greys for the time being. Now, what I'm now wondering is... Oh yes, I see. There's something simpler here. This digit. Where does this digit go in box 5? Now, because of the knight's move constraint, it's not going in those squares. 2 is not a high digit, so it's not going in those squares, and it's not going in these squares. So 2 is in one of those 2 squares by Sudoku stroke knight's move, and that tells us the parity of this whispers line. That might mean that... oh no, it doesn't. This I was wondering if I could... If this had been orange, I would have known that these would be a yellow-purple pair, but actually it doesn't work like that, does it? The fact that one of these is orange means one of these is low, which means that the low parity digits, because we're alternating along the German whispers line, are those digits on this whispers line. So we've actually got... There's all sorts of symmetries going on here. For example, I'm now seeing that these 4 orange digits are all different because this cell sees those 2 by knight's move. So this is a set of 4 digits, just as this is a set of 4 digits. So the other way of thinking about that is that those 2 digits are the same, which means they're not a 2. So these are 1s, 3s or 4s, I think. Oh, no, easier. Easier than this is a set of low digits. So it's a set of the digits 1, 2, 3 and 4, because again these see each other because of the knight's move constraint. Now we can't put 4 in either of those, because if we do, we're going to have to double 9 around it in order to obey the German whispers rules. So the 4s have to match up to the 2s, which means these are a 1-3 pair. One of these squares is now a 9. Whichever one of these is a 4 has to have a 9 next to it on the German whispers line. And this square's got to be a 1 or a 3. And this square sees this square, so there's all sorts of things going on now. So these 2 squares are different colours. What about... So by symmetry, can we say that this one has to be high parity at the end? Let me just think about this for a second. I know that this is a set of the digits. Yes, you can. Okay, so if this was low, if this cell was low, we would know that this cell has to be the same as this cell. Because if this is low, it can't be this one, it can't be this one, and it can't be this one. So if this is low, it's the same as that one. But if this is low, because it's on the whispers line, this is also low. But what is this one? This one can't be the same as this one, or this one by Sudoku. So it is also this one, and these 2 are a knight's move apart. So the logic is symmetrical, but it applies... Oh, because the tail's poking in the other direction, it applies to the low digits, not the high digits. So that tells us these 2 are high digits, and this is a low digit. Now, what high digit is this? It's not green. Oh, it's blue. This is so clever. It's blue because it's not purple, it's not green, it's not yellow because it sees all of those. So that's blue. So blue goes in one of these 3 squares. This is now a yellow, blue, purple triple. The things I get to say on Cracking the Cryptic. A yellow, blue, purple triple. So green must be in one of these 3 squares. Green is not in the central cell because it's a knight's move away from itself there. Yeah, okay. And this square sees the whole of the low digits, doesn't it? and it sees the whole of the high digits because it sees the knight's moves equivalents. So this square cannot be low or high and is therefore 5 and doesn't get a colour. So these two squares, oh, they're yellow. They're a yellow-orange. Well, they're not. They're a 1 green pair. This is a 1 green pair. Not. Yeah, okay, that might confuse me. Yeah, but that's useful, isn't it? Because yes, I suppose the simpler way of thinking about this is in this row, where does the 1 go? Well, once this became a triple of high digits, the 1 was in box 5, which means this square here must be a 3. And therefore that square is very restricted because it's on the German whispers line. That's got to be an 8 or a 9. This 3 is telling us this square is a 1, this square is a 3. Now these two squares, look, have to be 5 apart from 3, so they have to be an 8-9 pair. This square now must be a high digit, and it's a 6 or a 7. And this can't now be the 4, because if this was the 4, you'd need to put a 9 next to it on the line. Good grief. So that's the 4, that's the 9, it's got to be 5 away. That's the 8. That's not 9 anymore. This 3 is a knight's move away from this square, so that's a 1. That's a 3, so this is an 8-9 pair because of the German whispers-ness of the world. So now we know that green and purple are 8 and 9. So, oh, well, okay, this, hang on, doesn't that mean that these have to be, these can't be 8 because they see 8, so green must be 9, I think. That seems to be correct, which means that purple must be 8. This square's 8, so it's purple. Those can't be purple anymore. They've become a yellow-blue pair. This is a 1-9 pair in the middle box. These squares here have got to be 6s and 7s. This 2 is on a German whispers line as well. So this, oh, that's a 6 or a 7. Oh, I see. And now this is on the German whispers line next to a 2, so it can't be a 6. That's got to be a 7. That fixes yellow as a 6. That fixes this as a 7. This therefore has to be 5 away and has to be a 1 or a 2. And then this will bounce up to be high again, but not being able to be 7. So this can be, oh no, actually it could be 9. 9 is green. Let's make sure we colour in everything that we can. These two squares here are a 6-7 pair. I'm not sure if we can do this digit because it sees a 2 on a German whispers line, so that's got to be 7, not 6. That 7 bounces in here and fixes those two digits. Yellow we know is 6, so this one is yellow. That one must be blue. And this 9 sees into the middle box by knight's move, so that's the 1. This is the 9. This square loses its ability to be green, and it must be orange. And this 1 sees this square by knight's move, so that's a 2. This 9 sees this one by knight's move. Yes, and yes. Here is an interesting point that might be relevant. If we look at the puzzle now, at this point in the solve, we have got precise symmetry in terms of the disposition of the German whispers lines, i.e., what do I mean by that? I mean, if I rotate the grid 180 degrees, it's the same. The only difference, the only thing breaking the symmetry are these Kropki dots, which don't appear in a rotationally symmetrical position on the left-hand side. Now, if you actually look now at the left and right-hand side of the grid, you can see that rotationally symmetrical digits are adding up to 10. So my suspicion is that this puzzle is completely rotationally symmetrical in its solution, because I can't see what's going to break the symmetry, given everything about the puzzle other than these squares was rotationally symmetric. And now we've solved these squares and found that actually everything is adding up to 10. So what we might find here is that when we get logic, for example, if I find logic that allows me to determine this square, I think that there will be identical logic down here that will determine this square. That's my contention, but we shall see whether that holds true. Okay, so what can we say now? We know there's a 9 up there. Do we know both of the digits that live up there? Yeah, this is a 4-9 pair. So those two squares are a 2-5 pair. But I don't think... I can't see if that's resolved actually. Maybe it is. That's 1-6 to complete row 6. Those squares need to have an 8 in them and a 5. So this is a 5-8 pair. Right, what about this square then? So this has to be 5 away from 8, but it can't be 3. So this is a 1 or a 2. So my anticipation is that this is an 8 or a 9 now, but we'll check that in a second. Can't see whether I can resolve this one either. So this has to be 5 away from 2, but it can't be 7 because of the knight's move. So this is 8 or 9, and I bet there's nothing that's going to resolve this. The 8s and the 9s are too far away. So we have got this sort of weird symmetry going on still. And I don't know whether we're meant to look at these, the remaining German whispers lines, or... No, I don't have to yet, I don't think, because I can see there's an interesting question about 6s in row 3. This 6 is really potent because it rules out those two squares from being a 6, and this 6 is really potent because it rules out those two squares from being a 6, and that one indeed. So 6 in this row is going to be here. And I'm immediately wondering, I want to check 4s in row 7, but we won't do that. We've got a 6 here. 6 is yellow. And that 6 is fixing that square as yellow and this square as 1. So that one becomes orange. Oh, beautiful. This can't be 6 anymore, so that's a 6 by knight's move. 6 in... Yeah, 6 is placed in box 8 now because of the knight's move and Sudoku combination. It has to go here. Now 6 in this box. It's not quite placed, but it was still near. But 6 in box 2 is placed. It's got to go there because the knight's move doesn't allow it to be in this square. This can't... Oh, and now where does 6 go in this row? It can't go here or here. This one because of knight's move, this one because of Sudoku. So it must go on the line. If you've got a 6 on a German whispers line, what's this square got to be? 5 away and low, it's got to be a 1. So the 6 gets yellowed, the 1 gets oranged. There's a 1 now in one of these 3 cells. This 6 is fixing the 6. I think we might have done all the 6s now. I felt like I put in a lot of 6s just a moment ago. Double click 6s. We have done 9 6s. Now I reckon we're going to be able to get 9 4s, but let me just think about whether or not we've learned anything else. We can blue the 7. 7's got to be in one of 2 places in box 7, look. And one of 2 places in box 2. Okay, I can't see it, and I'm desperate to look at 4s in row 7, so let me check that. 4 here, those 2, 4 here, that one, and that one, yep. So this square here is a 4 by identical logic. So this is going very nicely now, so that means this, what's that? That's green, isn't it? So, and look, we can just keep extending this. 4 now has to go at the top. We should be able to get all the 4s because we could get all of the 6s. 4 in this box has to be here, exactly the same logic we did before. 4 in this box is unresolved, but we're going to have more joy in the bottom of the grid, aren't we? Because if I remember rightly, what about, yep, 4 has to be here. Exactly the same thing we did with 6s. Now 4 in there has to be on the German whispers line, which forces this to be a high 9. 9 is in one of those two squares. Did I get? Yes, I did get the identical pencil mark with the 1s in box 7, and that fixes the final 4 of the grid into that cell. Ah, this is just marvellous. It really is. Now, what can we do next? Does row 3 give us more clever stuff or not? What digits have we got left to place? 2, 3, 5 and 9. 3, no, 2, 3. 2 is a bit... Oh, 2 is a bit restricted. 2 can't go there or there because of this 2, and it can't go here because of this 2. So 2 in row 3. Now we should be thinking about 8 in row 7, but let's think about 2 in row 3 firstly. Yes, that gets me a 2 and a 5. Those two squares become orange. 2 is forced to be down here at the bottom of the grid, and here by Sudoku. And now, okay, now we've got some stuff going on with 2s, haven't we? We've got 2s locked into one of those squares, and 2s locked into one of these squares. So this has become a 2-9 pair, I think, at the top of column 9. Now, can we resolve this final pattern of 2s somehow? There's probably a knight's move or something resolving this. I can't see it. Bobbins. Right, let's look at 8 in row 7, because hopefully the 8s will work the same way, and they do. There's only one place for an 8. That's a purple digit, isn't it? That gives us the 8 here. We can then uncolour the 5 that results from that. This must be an 8 at the top. 8 must go here in box 1. 8 must be along with the 1. We get the 1-8 pair down there, and we're going to have a sort of 8 duo there in those squares. Okay. That's all good stuff, and in fact look at this column now. That's going to be a 5, so we should find a symmetrical 5 in column 7, and we do. Where does 1 go? In box 9 it's got to go here, so that means this square here has got to be a 7. The 1 gets its own colour, the 7 gets its own colour, and we're going to be able to repeat this exact logic with 9s and 3s, I think, up here. Yeah, we can place the 9, make it green, we can place the 3, make it orange. What about this row then now? Is this going to give the final... Yeah, no, 3s and 5s, I think. Oh yeah, 5. This 5 sees this square, so there's only one place for a 5 in the row. That also gives us the 3. And I'm not certain, but I do sort of feel this is the only place for a 3 in box 8 now. It feels like we've done it, actually. This is the only place for a 3 in that box down there. That took the position of a 7, so we can place the 7. This square here needs to be a 5. We still need a 5 in that row, so a column, I should say. 7's got to be here. 3 gets a colour. 7 is forced here. 7 is forced here. I'm trying to colour as I go along. Okay, what about this column then? We need 9s and 1s. Is that seeing anything? Is that one seeing anything? Probably not, actually. So that was a disastrous place to look. Okay, what about this column? We've got a lot of real estate down then. These two squares at the top have got to be a 3 here and a 7 here. So we should be able to... Okay, what about this column then? 1s, 2s and 5s. Well, that definitely sees a 2. So that's a 1 or a 5. That one definitely sees a 1, so it's a 2 or a 5. Right, there's gonna. Oh, I see what I'm missing. This one here is seeing there. This 9 here is seeing there. So if we resolve that correctly, perhaps that will be the final straw so far as the puzzle's concerned. Now we need a 5 here. I'm going to tidy up my colouring at the end, I think. That's a 5. This is a 1. This is an 8. That becomes a 9. Symmetrically opposite the 1, that becomes an 8. Double click the 8s, make them purple. Double click the 9s, make them, what's that, green. Double click the 2s, make them orange. Double click the 1s, make them orange. We should just be left with blank 5s. And hopefully a correct grid. I'm going to click tick. Yeah, what a beautiful puzzle that is. It really is. It's, again, it's not insanely difficult. It's just elegance personified. It's so beautiful. The idea, it's this particular magical shape of the phoenix wing, and the fact that once you make it a German whisper with this knight's move constraint, you get these 4 digits here that all have the same parity, and that's the key. And the really clever way apiyo has used especially this black Kropki dot, that both of these black Kropki cells had to be the same parity in terms of the German whispers line is beautiful, because it forces them. And after that, it becomes really a chromatic exercise and a bit of a scanning exercise. Maybe not my forte, but I don't think I did too bad a job. You'll let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.